Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the From the Heights podcast, an inside look into the Moyne College Athletic Department. I am your host, Kevin Turry, the video production and creative content coordinator here at Moyne College, joined once again today by Bob Beretta. Bob, how are you doing today?
I'm excellent. How are you doing today, Kevin?
I'm doing really well, thanks. Before we dive into all things Moyne College, I'm not sure if you noticed, but I held off on the full title formal introduction for you there purposefully, because since the last time we've done this, you've actually had a little bit of a title change. So I wanted to, first of all, congratulate you on that and give you the platform to speak on the title change.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Kevin. And tremendous gratitude to President Linda Lemura and the leadership for entrusting the responsibility of leading this athletic department and providing us now with a greater platform to be in the room with the rest of the leaders here on campus and be able to represent athletics in a way that I think is really important during this transition. So I'm very grateful to Dr. Lemura, but it's really more of a sum product of what our staff has done over the past 3 years to allow us to be in position to make this transition and the reclassification, but also to elevate our program as such that it's viewed upon in a way that our leadership here at Moyne College feels that it should be in the room with the other leaders. So again, it's really, I'm grateful to our staff because they've made this possible, and this is really a reflection of their work.
Of course, and for those of you at home who might not have seen the press release, Bob has been elevated to the Assistant Vice President of Athletics and Recreation here at Moyne College. So once again, congratulations. And with introductions in order, let's dive into all things Moyne. So as we were discussing last time, a lot of different facility renovations going on campus. As we talked about, our concession stand and restroom facility here at Ted Grant Field is finally opened and complete for use, which is now in use over the past few weeks. So can you talk to us a little bit about what finalizing that project means for the facility here at Ted Grant Field, but also for the Dick Rockwell baseball complex as well?
Yeah, Kevin, thanks. I'm, again, so appreciative of our college leadership and our staff, because it's my understanding that this facility has been discussed for approximately 10 years when the renovation and when this complex, when Ted Grant Field itself was constructed, it was part of the plan, and then it had been eliminated due to some financial considerations. So when I arrived, it was something that we felt was really important to try to reinvigorate. And again, with our leadership, Joe Grasso, Dr. Lemura, they understood that we want to service our fans, our guests that come here in a way that's meets the standard of Moyne College, and I don't think we were doing that by not providing concession opportunities on those cold days. I know there's a few of them every now and then here at Syracuse, and just the opportunity to have a snack during the game, and certainly the comfort of a restroom that's fitting of our institution, and we didn't provide that before, other than having our fans have to walk over to the event center. That's not always convenient during the middle of the game. It's a 5 or 10 minute walk, and you're missing, if you're a parent and you want to watch your son or daughter play, you don't want to miss 1 second of that time. So it was really important. I felt that in terms of service, and we're all about service here at Moyne, not just service to our student athletes, but service to our community, that we were able to find a way to finish that project. And we cut the ribbon on it here a couple of weeks ago, and I'm really excited. I get excited when I see people walking around now with a box of popcorn or a coffee or a bottle of water. It's just those small little creature comforts now that we can provide, but it's all part of the student-athlete experience and the student experience in addition to the fan experience. So we're thrilled with what that facility has turned out to be and how it elevates our overall product.
Absolutely. I of course am biased towards it, but I can just reiterate that point that it really adds to the overall environment and energy going on here when we're supporting our Finns fans and our Finns athletic teams. So it really is awesome. In addition to that, as we look out on Ted Grant Field here, we can see some other branding going on. We see the NEC logo painted across the field.
Right.
In other aspects, looking inside the basketball gym, there's a lot of work being done inside there to elevate the gym as well. Can you speak to us a little bit about what's going on there and why you felt it necessary to continue to enhance the environment?
Yeah, Kevin, it's not just in the branding. We'll have 2 facility enhancements coming here later this fall in November. We hope to have our softball press box in place and our baseball dugouts now. We'll have newly renovated, they'll demolish the existing dugouts and have new dugouts in place here before the snow flies, hopefully, and we're excited about those two. We feel like they're tremendous facility enhancements for our baseball program and for our softball program, also for our not only our student athletes but our student workers. We have an obligation to treat our workers, our staff. I may have said student workers, but really our entire staff that work so hard at these games, provide a safe environment and an environment that allows us to tell the stories of our student athletes at the highest level. And I feel like by adding a press box over to softball, that'll certainly help the environment in which we work. And over at baseball, the softball, I should say the baseball dugouts, it's a project, again, that we've been talking about for several years. And I feel like they're unsafe right now. I just don't feel like they're large enough. They don't meet safety requirements established by the NCAA. And again, as we continue to evolve that baseball facility to a place where it's deserving of Dick Rockwell's name, we'll continue to make some enhancements there. From a branding standpoint, I'm an external guy. I'm a signage guy. I think that branding goes a long way. Sometimes minimal investment for maximum return, and even just painting the logos on our field now that we're in the NEC, I think is a nice touch. But we're going to expand that. We added some banners out here for soccer. We did that in baseball and in softball and both our lacrosse programs. And I think it just dresses the facility up and celebrates success. I love to celebrate success, and there's been tremendous success here in the history of Moyne Athletics. So I want to make sure that we trumpet that and we don't forget about that as we transition to Division I, all of the great successes of our Division II program. So really important for me that we spotlight those teams. Now, as you move into our gym, Ted Grant Court, you're going to see extensive branding here that will complete this month, and that is also recognition of who we are. We want to tell our story to our fans, and when they come in to Ted Grant Court, we want to let them know that we're proud members of the NEC, that we are the Finn family, and you're going to see our logos spread around that gym quite a bit, and you're also going to see banners of all of our NEC opponents in the gym. So just those little touches that I feel like make it a more pleasant environment for our fans and for our student athletes, and makes it our home. I think it's really important to put a stake in the ground, and this is who we are, and we're proud of our legacy. We're proud of who we are, and I want to make sure that we're touting that story as much and as loudly as we possibly can.
Absolutely. You mentioned their success of our athletics programs. As we transition now to a little bit of a different topic and reflecting back on this past weekend, certainly that success was on full display as we had our Moyne College Gold Wave Hall of Fame induction ceremony, as well as some other alumni events going on here around campus in the Syracuse area. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to speak on what the alumni base means to you and how much having the support and people coming back and being part of the Moyne College community means, and if you could speak on that for us.
Yeah, Kevin, Doc Joyner weekend is truly special here on the Heights. It's homecoming weekend for us. Doc Joyner was before my time here at Moyne, but I know that he was an integral part of the athletic program and named the homecoming weekend in his memory and in his honor. And so it's really important. It's important to all of us that we remember all his contributions, and we do it in such a fitting way by naming homecoming weekend after Doc Joyner. And we had a tremendous turnout at our Gold Wave golf tournament on Friday. We had 29 foursomes, over 110 golfers, and those are alums that come back, and they're part of the Finn family. When our people graduate, we want to make sure that they stay connected to our athletic department and to the college. And, it was a great turnout on Friday.
Hopefully we can have that Syracuse weather always that we had for the tournament as well.
Yeah, 75 degrees and sunny in September, and we know no different here at the Heights. It's like that here this week as well. But it was a great turnout, and then it rolled right into our event on Saturday, which is really one of our premier events of the entire academic year. I look forward to it so much every single year. It's induction day into our Gold Wave Hall of Fame, and we were able to induct 3 individuals in the 2009 men's soccer team into the Gold Wave Hall of Fame, and Amanda Keegan, Jeff Justice, and Mike McDonald were the individuals that were inducted representing men's and women's lacrosse and the baseball program. So to have a room filled like that, there was such energy, such love, such joy, really, and that's what it should be. It should be a celebration of excellence. We talk about chasing excellence every single day, and we want our student athletes to chase comprehensive excellence, whether that be on their fields of their chosen sport or in the classroom or in the community, and all of it. And certainly that was on display Saturday when you induct 3 individuals in a team of that stature into our Gold Wave Hall of Fame. They're models of excellence, and we want to celebrate that. So it's really important to us to engage with our alums, to let them know that when they leave the Heights, they always have a place. This is always home for them. And then later on Saturday, the campus was buzzing. There were so many homecoming activities. We had alumni games in several sports. And to just see all that interaction in my time here, it was the most successful Doc Joyner weekend that we've had. And I think that's partially due to, as we continue to evolve out of COVID and people are more comfortable now coming out and interacting and be able to structure those things and pencil those into your schedule a year in advance. And hopefully that'll only continue to grow. But it's really important for us. And of course, our teams complied pretty well. We performed well. On Thursday to kick off homecoming weekend, our women's soccer team registered its first Division I victory over Stonehill here at Ted Grant Field, which was exciting. Our men's soccer team on Sunday had a draw in its first NEC contest, and that was against Stonehill as well. And I know they're not in season, but our women's softball team, I should say, split a doubleheader with Cornell on Sunday. So again, I think we're showing that we can compete at this level, and it tied very nicely into homecoming weekend.
That's such a great point, and you kind of beat me to the punch there. I was going to say it was so nice to see the alumni being involved in the current student-athletes events and alumni games going on here on campus. So as we move from the past and our alumni looking forward now to our fall sports season, can we have an update on what you've seen so far from our men's and women's soccer team and our volleyball team as well? They've fared fairly well so far, and can you speak on what you've seen and what you've liked from our teams?
Yeah, not just those three teams either. You know, we've had our tennis teams competing, we've had our golf teams competing, and they've been very competitive. As you know, Kevin, we as a staff have asked our student athletes three things, and I asked them three things that I think they have the choice. It's easy. And the first thing I ask for them to do this year is to compete ferociously. We hope that they compete with great ferocity, whether that's in training, in practice, or in contests. And they've done that. I've been so impressed with their ability to compete, whether they trail in a contest or they're ahead in a contest. They have not let the scoreboard dictate their level of compete. That's been exciting to me. The second thing that I've asked for our student athletes this year is to represent the college with class and dignity. And they've done that. They've represented this institution exceedingly well. I've been so impressed that they act like gentlemen and gentlewomen on the field, and that's important. You can compete ferociously and still do that with class and dignity, and that's very important to me, and I think that we've done that throughout the course of this early stages of this academic year. And the third thing is I've asked our student athletes to enjoy the heck out of this moment. You know, not only are they trailblazers, they're heading into uncharted territory for our Lemoyne athletes, other than, of course, the baseball and women's lacrosse programs, which previously were at Division I. They're trailblazers. This is the first time the entire athletic program has made this huge shift to Division I. And not only that, even if they were at Division II or Division III, a student athlete has a very short lifespan. As you know, you were a student athlete in college, and you have that finite period of time, whether it's 4 or 5 years. And I know things get very hectic, and I was a student athlete in college as well, and I wish I may have enjoyed every moment a little bit more, because it's fleeting. And before you know it, it's over. So I want our student athletes to take some time, enjoy the moment, appreciate where their feet are, and just understand that in 6 or 7 years, they'll move on to the next chapter of their life, and they'll look back hopefully with great memories of their time here as a student athlete on the Heights.
Of course, and yeah, again, just to reiterate your point, we have so many other teams competing here, not on campus, as I mentioned about our men's and women's soccer teams and volleyball, but our cross country and track teams and our golf teams and our tennis teams are doing fantastic things, not here on campus, but we want to make sure that we provide them with the support, as you mentioned as well. As we look and as we think back to the first episode of the podcast, we talked about some big non-conference opponents that teams here on campus have been playing. Now we've kind of transitioned from non-conference season into the conference season, into our first season in the NEC. Like you mentioned, we've had some good results here early on. How are you feeling about our ability to play at this level and compete within the NEC?
Yeah, it's a great question, Kevin, and one that I know that there was a great deal of concern and anxiety amongst some of our stakeholders, some of our student athletes. But I was confident. I was confident that our teams could step right in and be very competitive at this level. I say this all the time, that To me, this was a step. This was not a leap. Going from high Division II to low Division I or mid-major Division I, it's a step. Now, if Lemoyne were going to play Autonomy 5 conference opponents day in and day out, then that would be a leap. But that would also be a leap for every other member of the NEC, every other member of the MAC, every other member of the Patriot League. We're not doing that. We're going to pick our fights wisely. You know, we're going to challenge the Penn States and the Georgetowns and the Villanovas of the world, the USCs and the Colorados, and we're going to compete and fight like heck for a victory to come out with a positive result. But we're going to settle into our conference and non-conference schedules for the most part, and they're going to be against schools that look and feel an awful lot like Lemoyne, both athletically and academically. And I've said this so many times, who you play matters. It really does. And for us to be able to compete against schools in the Ivy League and in the Patriot League and then those elite brands, it's important. It's important that we're able to associate ourselves with those programs on the athletic field, but also academically. And so I've been really pleased with how we've competed. Now, would I like to have more victories? Of course. Unless all of our teams are undefeated, I will never say that I wouldn't want our teams to have more victories. But we've entered this with a very with a mindset that is one that we're in this for the long run. We understand. We're very reasonable in terms of our expectations in wins and losses. And I've talked to all of our student athletes and our coaches about how we measure success this year. And we're going to measure success in a variety of ways. It's not just going to be what the scoreboard says at the end of a contest. Now, if we're going to be able to fulfill those three things that I ask of our student athletes, you know, if we're going to compete ferociously, if they're going to represent the school with class and dignity, and they're going to enjoy the moment, you know what, that's a success. Because I think the results will follow. I'm a big process person. I believe that if the process is right, eventually the results will follow. And what I'm seeing from a process standpoint right now with all of our teams, and I know some teams are a little more successful in their wins-loss record right now than others, but what I'm seeing from all of our teams, bar none, is a tremendous trajectory, and I love the compete factor. I love the fact that we're representing with class and dignity, and we are competitive. In these matches and contests where we've lost, we haven't been blown out of many, if any, contests, and not any that jump to mind. And even our highest visibility contest to date, I think the men's soccer game at Penn State, our men lost 4-0, and it was a very competitive matchup. And while we would like to have more victories on the women's side, they've been extremely competitive and lost a couple of close games. Our men still searching for that first win, but going into the weekend. But you know, we felt like they're right on the edge, right on the cusp of success. Been 4 draws going into the weekend, and we feel like they're going to be very successful over time. So I couldn't be more excited. I couldn't be more proud of our student athletes and our coaches, how they've accepted this challenge. And I think that brighter days are ahead. But I again, enjoying the moment right now. I feel like we're a force to be reckoned with when we enter the fields of competition right now.
Of course, yeah, just from watching some games here on Ted Grant Field, and we're excited to be, at the time of recording, excited to watch our volleyball team here this upcoming weekend. So we're excited to have them back here on campus. But the level of play, we can do it, we can compete at this level, and it is really exciting to watch our student athletes take on that challenge. You mentioned as well, we've now released our men's and women's basketball schedules. Women's basketball having announced a trip out to Southern California to take on USC. Can you talk about what that's going to look like for us competing on that big stage? And now that basketball season has begun with the first practices being underway, the excitement that's continued to build here for our men's and women's basketball seasons.
Well, you know, Kevin, we talked a lot about this during the transition process, or I should say during the discernment process. We talked, because at that time we didn't know if we were going to be eligible immediately for conference championships. So we said that we wanted to provide our student athletes with a championship experience, whether they were able to compete for a championship or not. And that holds true today. And I think part of that is the scheduling experience. We talked about the benefit of the day-to-day environment. And when I talked about that, student athletes initially, I think it took a little time for them to get their arms around what I was talking about. But it really meant the day-to-day opponents and the experiences, and not to look poorly on any of our past experiences. But again, when our men's soccer team can go out to Penn State, when our women's basketball team can take a trip to Colorado and play Colorado and Colorado State, and then a week later head back out there and play USC, it's going to be grueling, but those will be lifetime memories. for our men's lacrosse team, they have I can't announce it yet, but they have a great trip planned. Our men's basketball team, they're going to be out in California for 10 days, and we're going to send a faculty advisor to go out there and ensure that their academic success follows. But they're also going to open up with games against Georgetown and Villanova, 2 nationally televised games. So those are the championship experiences that we can provide across the board, not just in basketball or not just in lacrosse, but to all of our student athletes. So I'm really excited about the schedules that our coaches have been able to put together. They've been able to construct those on very short time notice, right? We made the announcement on May 10th, and here we are sitting in late September, early October, and those schedules were in place by August. So I am so proud of the work that our coaches did in providing that championship experience for our student athletes. And I got to find a way to get on some of those trips, because I know that there'll be lifetime memories for everyone on them. And I think we'll compete extremely well on that great stage.
Yeah, as I mentioned last time we were here together, I was able to go on the trip with our volleyball team to South Carolina, and I will always remember it as well. So I can say for the student athletes as well, I'm sure it's experiences that they're looking forward to. I'm getting excited just talking about this. As we look forward to our season when we have home games here, we wanted to talk a little bit about men's and women's basketball season tickets, even just regular game ticket sales, and how people can come to campus and watch these events here on campus. So if you'd like to speak to that.
Yeah, I would hope that now at the Division I level, we're going to be bringing in some pretty interesting teams at Ted Grant Court this year, but in the years to come. We're a little road heavy this year because of the timing of the announcement. So in many cases, we'll be a little imbalanced in terms of road versus home contest. The good news is the majority of those games are home and home series. So if we're away this year, that means those schools will be returning those games here next year. So just in the sports of basketball, men's and women's, now that we've announced those schedules and you look at them and you see some really interesting away opponents, know that for the most part, unless it's against an Autonomy 5 or part of a guarantee situation, it's an opponent that will be playing here next year. Having said that, we have some interesting opponents coming into Ted Grant Court this year. We've just announced our men's and women's basketball schedules, and on the women's side, Princeton's going to be making an appearance here at Ted Grant Court. On the men's side, we have Dartmouth, in addition to the NEC opponents across the board. And FDU, which made such a great run last year in the NCAA tournament, will be playing here at Ted Grant Court, and Sacred Heart on the women's side. Just a spotlight 2 of the conference members. Sacred Heart had a win in the NCAA tournament as well. They'll be playing here at Ted Grant Court. So I just feel like the level of interest is going to rise as we bring in name opponents and quality opponents to Ted Grant Court. And now that we've announced our schedules, you can look to have folks out there interested in purchasing season tickets can look to see an announcement on our website here probably in the middle of October. We'll make an announcement. We'll put our season ticket packages on sale, individual tickets as well. And one thing this year that we're really going to try to stress to our fans to try to buy their tickets online. We're going to try to evolve to a cashless situation here over time. That won't be the case this year. You'll still be able to come and pay for your tickets with cash at the door, but know that's something that we're evolving towards eliminating down the road. So highly encouraging people to purchase their tickets online, purchase season tickets coming out to Ted Grant Court. I believe there'll be around 30 games at home this year. There are no double headers, so they're all single games. Both our non-conference and conference contests are single dates, so that just doubles the amount of time you can come out and join us here at Ted Grant Court. And we're really excited about it. And again, for fans, just take a look at our website here. In the next couple of weeks, we'll have an announcement on season ticket availability.
I know I'm really looking forward to it. It is crazy to see the weather already starting to change a little bit moving forward here, and basketball season is just around the corner. Looking way down the line, as we look in the spring sports season, we actually have had some questions come into my inbox as we preached last time, so thank you to those who have reached out and engaged with us. We urge you to continue to do so as we continue this podcast series. Please feel free to reach out to my email with any of your questions. But as I mentioned, we did have several questions come in about our men's and women's lacrosse seasons and some of our other spring sports as well. The main question that was asked as we look forward was about kind of our men's lacrosse situation. Since the NEC currently does not sponsor men's lacrosse.
Correct.
You touched on it before that they have an incredibly exciting trip that, of course, we can't announce yet. I would love to, but we can't. So just wanted to provide some clarity on what the men's lacrosse season will look like and potentially some steps in the future as well.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. And it was really critically important to us that we protected our men's lacrosse legacy in our program. And we knew at the time of our decision that the NEC was not going to sponsor men's lacrosse for the 24 season, did not sponsor the sport of men's lacrosse for the 23 season either. And we knew the talking points and everything that was coming from the conferences, it was temporary. And so we had extensive dialogue around that before we made the commitment to join the Northeast Conference. We wanted to make sure that our men's lacrosse program was protected. Again, no issues with the women's lacrosse program. The NEC sponsors women's lacrosse and never in jeopardy there of not being able to compete for a conference championship immediately. But on the men's side, it's a very unique situation. So due to some schools defecting and leaving the NEC over the last couple of years that were men's lacrosse playing schools, the NEC dropped below its sports sponsorship minimum requirement to retain its AQ. So in order to find a home for the NEC schools that still played men's lacrosse, Commissioner Noreen Morris was brilliant in terms of getting an arrangement, and it was really a 2-year agreement where several of the members are playing in different conferences. And that was going to be for the 23 and 24 year as she was able to reassess the sport of men's lacrosse and with the intent of bringing it back. And we had an extensive dialogue around that during the negotiation, I can tell you that. And we feel very confident that the commissioner is going to be successful in bringing that sport back. I would hope that there'll be an announcement here about men's lacrosse in the next couple of weeks by the middle of October. I'm very optimistic that the announcement will be positive and it will be received extremely well by our lacrosse community here at Lemoyne. I know that's something that I'm really excited about and hopeful that the commissioner can get to the finish line on this. She's done incredible work in trying to build this coalition, if you will, and I think that there'll be some positive news very soon regarding men's lacrosse and its ability to return as a sport to be sponsored by the NEC beginning in 25. That's our hope, and I have tremendous faith in confidence in our commissioner to be able to accomplish that, and it'll be a major feat on her part when she's able to get that done.
Yeah, it's an exciting time to be here. Again, as I mentioned, just looking ahead and looking forward to all the events going on here on campus. It really is an exciting time. In conclusion, not really so much a question for you here, Bob, but again, we just wanted to reiterate how much it means for you to reach out to us, get involved in this conversation, and reach out with your questions so we can have you answer them for us. If you want to just speak on that, how we can get the community involved and reach out to us.
Yeah, Kev, we want to be very interactive and we want to listen to our fan base. We want to listen to all of our constituent groups that might have questions about our athletic program. Please send those in writing to Kevin Torrey. His email is on the directory. You can send them to me as well.
I'll probably put it in here, as you can see right here as well too, just so it's that easy for you.
Yeah, and we'll address those questions because we want to make sure that our fans are in tune with what we're doing, with the reasoning behind some of our decisions. Happy to address those where we can and provide whatever information we can. We try to be completely transparent as an institution and as an athletic department, and I'm happy to dive into any topics that we can to disclose whatever information that we can. But again, we kind of look at Lemoyne as Syracuse's hometown team. I kind of look at our athletic department as full of Syracuse's hometown teams, and we want people to feel that way, come out and support our student athletes. So many of them stay right here in the community after graduation. So there's this tremendous feeling of belonging here at Lemoyne. We want to make sure that people feel that they can be involved with our decisions that are being made. And we want to receive feedback sometimes before decisions are made, sometimes after they are. We'll explain our processes, but please be part of this. This is a new feature that we wanted to provide to our stakeholders and allow people to write in and ask questions and see if we can't provide some clarity on issues if there's some confusion out there in the marketplace.
Of course, and so thank you again to those who have already reached out. Please continue to do so and get involved with us. And Bob, thanks again for your time today. That'll be the end of this episode of the From the Heights podcast. And so until next time, fins up.
Fins up, everyone.